Oh my god, where did you get that mockup? Is that font free? How do you choose your color palette? These are some of the questions that I get asked literally every single day, and today I'm finally gonna reveal all the websites, apps, and tools that I use to create my designs and run my business. And guess what? They are all free. Ciao besties! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Viviana, and if you're new here, on this channel we discuss brand design and create entire brand identities from scratch. In today's video, I'm gonna give you all the tea that I know you've been waiting for. You can't imagine how many times I get asked things like this. DMs, comments, everything. So I've decided to share with you all the free resources that I use basically every day. Now, if I have to be completely honest with you guys, I also use websites and resources that are not free. And I'm also going to talk about that just to give you the full picture in case you want to make that kind of investment in the future. Everything that I'm going to be talking about is stuff that I actually use every day, like for real. I have tons of websites bookmarked, but honestly, I rarely use any of them. I just have my go-to websites and I always use those because I always find what I'm looking for there. First, we're gonna go over all my designs related resources like fonts, mockups, and so on. And then I'm also gonna share my go-to resources for running my business like project management, scheduling posts, and stuff like that. But if you know like an awesome website that you feel everybody should know about, feel free to drop it in the comments. Let's help each other out, you know? And while you're there, please consider subscribing to the channel or liking the video. It really helps my channel, so thank you if you do that. Okay, so let's start with typography. One of the biggest questions that I get is, where do I find fonts that are free for commercial use? If you're not familiar with this term, a font being free for commercial use means that you can use it in a client project. So you can use it in a project that you would get paid for. Before using a font, it is very important that you check the license because there are a lot of free fonts, but they're actually free just for personal use. So you have to make sure that it's free for commercial use if you want to use it in a client project. This can get you in trouble, so make sure to check that. Personally, when I download them, I put them in a separate folder so I'm always sure that I can use them. But where do I get them? My go-to websites for downloading fonts free for commercial use are bfonts and Fontask. Both of these websites have separate sections for fonts that are free for commercial use, so you're sure that you're downloading the right ones. You can find cool, funky, unique fonts, but you also can find entire typefaces. It's amazing that people are putting out these quality resources for free. Another website that has me shook for the amount of quality fonts that they have is a website for a French type foundry called Velveteen. I'm sure that you already know them because their fonts are all over the internet. They're amazing. But if you didn't know, they are all free and I honestly use them a lot in my works. Fonts like Pilolava, Basteleur, Le Murmure, all free. Moving on, we have probably the most underrated resource out of all of them, which is Google Fonts. Google Fonts has a huge library and you can find some really cool fonts there, but mostly I use it for secondary fonts like fonts that I use for really long text when it comes to packaging or social media templates. It is very convenient to use these kind of fonts because they are free, so they're very easy to get even for my clients. And also, I don't know if many people know this, Google Fonts gives you a lot of information on the font that you're using. It gives you stats, it tells you how many times the font has been used and where. Then there's also like information about typography. It's amazing that they're giving out all this information for free and for each font. So, you know, give it a spin, give it a try, and let me know what you think because Google Fonts is an underrated gem for sure. And then before moving on to the next category, I have to mention Adobe Fonts. I know that technically it's not free, but it is included in your Adobe subscription. So if you have it, I really suggest to use this tool because it is amazing. The Adobe Fonts library is incredible, and I think that you could be a really successful designer just by using those fonts. They are all free for commercial use also. So, you know, don't forget about it if you have a subscription. Speaking of huge libraries, did you know that Google Fonts also has icons? Because I didn't. I found out very recently and I am shocked. Personally, I don't like downloading icons because I prefer making them to fit the project, but sometimes you need like those simple, quick icons and Google Fonts is perfect for that. I've used it a lot ever since I found out that it's a thing. So go and have a look at that because wow. Next up, we have color palettes. Usually I like to create my color palettes by sampling the colors from my Pinterest board, but sometimes you need a little extra inspiration. And that's when I use my go-to website website, which is Coolors. I'm sure that you know this already because it's very popular, rightfully so, because it's so cool and useful. If you're not familiar with it, Coolors allows you to create random color palettes. You can choose one or multiple colors and create an entire color palette around those, but you can also just make random color palettes, and I think that when you're looking for inspiration, seeing all those palettes really can spark some ideas. I know that I've had to do this quite a while in the past, but Coolors is amazing also because it gives you a lot of information on the color itself, like first of all the codes obviously, but also how you can pair up this color, how it works in contrast with other colors, how you should use it, the name of the color, all these characteristics that, you know, can be very useful in a project. It's literally all you can ask for when it comes to colors. But sometimes I've also used another website called Color Hunt, which is incredible because it already has some color palettes and you can choose them based on a mood or a vibe or a festivity, shades of colors, pastels, neon colors. Like, there's so many things that you can choose from. I think it's very cool, especially if you're looking for a specific aesthetic. Another useful tool that I've used in the past is Adobe Color. I think it's really cool because it gives you the entire color wheel and you can kind of choose colors based on monochromatic palettes, complementary colors and stuff like that. You can literally play on the wheel and choose the colors based on what you're looking for. And if you have an Adobe subscription, again, sorry, you can save those color palettes in your Adobe libraries. Moving on, we have stock photography. You might think, well, why do I need photography if I'm a brand designer? Actually, photography comes very handy when you're doing client presentations or even if you're doing presentations for your passion project. Having photography is always going to make a brand stronger, I think. But when it comes to stock photography, you have to be very careful because there are some websites that I'm about to mention, yes, they're very, very used. So my suggestion is to do a little bit of research to make sure that you don't use pictures that everybody else is using. My favorite website when it comes to stock photography is Pexels. I absolutely love Pexels because not only you can find amazing high quality photography, but you also can find videos, and sometimes they're made by the same person. So if you're looking for like visual consistency when you're putting together a presentation for a passion project, for example, you have pictures and videos connecting and it's so cool. I use it all the times, honestly. 99% of the times I can find what I'm looking for. You can search images by using keywords obviously, but also using color, which is very interesting to me. But sometimes, very rarely, I don't find what I'm looking for. That's when I go on Unsplash. This website is very popular, so again, make sure to do your research and really scroll. Don't just use the first picture that you see, because if you're doing that, a lot of other people are doing that too. So be mindful of that. Also, there are no videos, which I don't like, but it does the job. Then we have the category you have all been waiting for, mockups. This is a big one. My way of looking for mockups has changed over time, but there are some websites that I always go back to because I know that I can always find what I'm looking for. The first is Mockup Tree. I don't know why, but I never hear people talking about this website. It's amazing. First of all, it has a huge library and the mockups are so high quality, it's insane. I hear a lot of people talking about Mockup Word, but honestly, Mockup Tree is so much better. I said it. There are so many different kinds of mockups and they're all amazing. I've worked using just Mockup Tree mockups for ages. Another website that I also use that it's very underrated in my opinion is Mr. Mockup. Mr. Mockup has a smaller library for sure, but I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that their mockups are exclusive to the website, so they're very like unique mockups, and I think that the quality is very good. They have a certain style that if it really matches with your style also, it's gonna be like your go-to website for sure. And then we have another website that it's underrated and overrated at the same time. Let me explain. I'm talking about Freepik. Freepik has so many assets, it's insane. I think that many people used to use that website a lot before knowing about all these other amazing resources, and then once they have stopped using it. But it has some amazing mockups that you cannot find anywhere else. There have been times where I was looking for a specific mockup and I could not find it anywhere, and then just as my last resort I went on Freepik and I found it like literally in 1 second. It's still very useful. Of course, there are other assets that are very useful. For example, they also have vectors and illustrations. Also in this case, be mindful of that because there are a lot of people using this website, especially for illustrations. So know that if you're using them a lot of other people probably using them too, which is okay with mockups, but maybe not so much with illustration. And I just found out that they also have fonts. What? Of course, if you have used Freepik already, you might know this, but it has a limited amount of downloads per day. I think it's 10. So, you know, keep your options open for sure. This next one is gonna blow your mind. I have been using their mockups for a while now, and I have to be honest, lately I've been using exclusively their mockups. Every single time I use them, I get so many questions, so many nice comments about them because their quality is breathtaking. I'm talking about this mockup, and this mockup, and this mockup, and this one. They are all free, and they are from No Issue Creatives. No Issue Creatives is not a website, but it's a community created by No Issue. No Issue is an online supplier that creates all sorts of packaging for small businesses, and they collaborate with designers a lot. That's why they have created this community called the No Issue Creatives. It is very easy to get in. You basically have to go on their Instagram page, apply to get into the community, and once you get in, you have access to a Google Drive folder with all these beautiful mockups. Everything is free. All you have to do is just apply. The community is so awesome and supporting. They also have challenges and they give shout outs to people. It's so amazing that a company that creates packaging is so in line with how designers work, because when your clients use No Issue products, then it's so much easier because you already know how they work. I have worked with No Issue in the past and I absolutely loved it. So if you didn't know and this was what you were waiting for, go and apply because those mockups are really worth it. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm also going to be talking about paid services that I use, and this is the case for Envato Elements. I mention them on this channel a lot because I really use their service a lot for many things. Envato Elements is an online library with up to 59 million creative assets, and you can find there literally everything that I've just talked about and more. They have brushes, templates, videos, stock photography, web templates, illustrations, and of course fonts, mockups, all of that. I mean, ever since I got a subscription with them, this is my go-to website. Since it's a paid service, is a little bit less accessible to anyone, so the mockups that I can find are more unique, so they add more values to my projects. This is an investment, so think about it and don't feel pressure to get a subscription just because other people are doing that, because as I just mentioned, there are a lot of free resources that you can find out there. I see this as the next big step of your design career or journey. If you feel like you want to upgrade your business, your services, or the way that you present your work, then this might be where you're looking for. But if you're just starting out, do not worry about it. I also have to say that it's very worth it. I don't think that I can live without it. If you're curious about the service and you want to try it out first, they have a 7 days free trial that you can access by clicking the first link in my description. If you do that, you will also help me in the channel, so thank you. Alright, so now that you have all these amazing resources to make your designs, how do you manage them? How do you post them? Let me tell you how I do that for free. First up, we have resources for project management. For this category, I only have one tool that I use for literally everything, which you probably already know. I'm obviously talking about Notion. If you've never heard about Notion, it is literally a project management tool that you can use to do almost anything, honestly. Write notes, create calendars, make timelines, upload files, images, videos, and it's literally perfect for hosting your client portals. If you're a working designer who has clients, I really suggest to use Notion as your project management tool because it's literally built for that. It is a lifesaver and it's free. Personally, I use the paid version, but it's not really that different from the free version. I mean, you can do all of these things that I just talked about for free. If you already heard about Notion, don't get too intimidated by people who have these amazing, cute, aesthetic setups because, you know, you can use it even if you don't have them. I don't. My Notion is pretty messy, but it works for me. Now, let's move on to another kind of management. If you're like me and you work on social media, especially Instagram, you might need to plan your feed and then schedule some content. I know that there's a lot of apps that do these things, but for some reason, they never really work for me. So the tool that I use to plan my feed is actually very simple, and it's Illustrator. I know again that it's not free, but if you already have an Adobe subscription, I really suggest to use Illustrator because it's just so much easier. I just create a grid of my own, then I can move it around the way that I want to. I can use different colors for different kinds of content. I can write down some notes, some content ideas, and just have everything there. You can use whatever tool you're using to create your designs to also plan your feed. Last category is content creation for social media. Let let me be very clear. These tools that I'm about to talk about are meant to be used to create additional graphics, social media posts, or literally any other thing other than logos. You do not create logos on these platforms. They are not meant for that. Even if they say they are not. The first one is obviously, you say with me, Canva. Personally, I don't use Canva for my own graphics. I think that being a designer, it's so much easier to just use Illustrator instead of just exporting everything and bringing it on Canva for some reason. I don't see the need to do that. I pay an awful lot of money for the Adobe subscription, so you better believe that I will be using it for literally anything that I can. But if you're a business, then using Canva makes a lot more sense, and that's why I use it to create social media templates for my clients. In most cases, I suggest them to get Canva Pro, so the paid version of Canva, because I think that it's way easier to just manage everything if you're using it all the time to create all of your posts. But again, I don't have it because I don't feel the need to have it. The regular free version works perfectly for me. But it's not over. I don't know if you know this, I literally just found out. There's a new competitor in town, created by our frenemies at Adobe, and it's called Adobe Express. This tool works basically just like Canva. It's incredible. You can do the same exact things on the website and on the app, but the thing that it's like a game changer to me is that you can find all the fonts from the Adobe Fonts library on the app for free. This is huge because if clients don't have an Adobe subscription, which they most likely won't, it is very tricky to use fonts from the Adobe Fonts library because the licensing is a whole mess. But with Adobe Express, this is not an issue anymore. So don't mind if I do. I am very excited to see what happens with Adobe Express. So these were all my go-to resources that help me create my designs and run my business. I hope that I've answered all of your questions, and again, feel free to drop in the comments all of your favorite free resources because we always need more. If you would like to see more content like this, you can subscribe to the channel or leave me a like on this video because it really helps. You can follow me on all my social media, especially Instagram. That's where I show up almost every single day. And honestly, I don't know why, I don't know what happened, but my TikTok has been blowing up recently. I don't know, so you can follow me there too, I guess. I'm a TikTok girly now, apparently. And if you would like to see how I use some of these resources to put together editable social media templates for my clients, then check out this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again in another video next week. Ciao!